Yep. What up? What up? It's your boy. Y'all can hear me? I know you can hear me, man. I appreciate y'all. So we back again. We still going over John C. Maxwell, the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader. So anyway, we've already read chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Both of those, all four of those chapters were covered in the two previous, I guess we'll call them episodes of this book. So let's go ahead and kick it off. We are reading again the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader, becoming the person others will want to follow. This is by John C. Maxwell. I'm your host, SJ. I definitely appreciate you. You can be anywhere in the world right now. You're here with me. That's not lost on me. Let's dive right in. Number 5, competence. If you build it, they will come. Now, each chapter starts off with a couple of quotes. Here are those two quotes. Number 1, competence goes beyond words. It's the leader's ability to say it, plan it, and do it in such a way that others know that you know how and know that they want to follow you. That's by John C. Maxwell. Second quote to kick off this chapter. The society which scorns excellence in plumbing the society which scorns excellence in plumbing because plumbing is a humble activity and tolerates shoddiness in philosophy because it is an exalted activity will have neither good plumbing nor good philosophy. Neither its pipes nor its theories will hold water. That quote is by John Gardner, who's an author. All right, into it. Fanfare for a common man. Benjamin Franklin always thought of himself as an ordinary citizen. One of 17 children, Franklin was the son of a tradesman, a candle maker who was far from wealthy. He experienced a typical childhood. He attended school for only 2 years, and at age 12, he was apprenticed to his brother in the printing trade. Franklin worked hard and lived a simple life, governing his actions according to a set of 13 virtues, upon which he graded himself daily. At age 29, he started his own printing business. Had Franklin been content to work at his trade, his name would be little more than a footnote in Philadelphia's history. Yet he lived an extraordinary life. He was one of the fathers of American independence and a great leader of the emerging nation. He co-authored the Declaration of Independence, and he later helped write the Treaty of Paris and the Constitution of the United States. He was the only man who signed all three. And he was selected to perform a difficult and dangerous secret diplomatic mission to Paris during the war to secure military and financial support for the revolution. What gave a northern tradesman the opportunity to exert so much influence among the wealthy, predominantly southern landholders who headed the war for independence? I believe it was Franklin's incredible competence. Benjamin Franklin excelled at everything he touched for 7 decades. When he started his own printing business in 1726, people believed Philadelphia could not support a third, went to the wrong page, could not support a third printer. But Franklin quickly established a reputation as the most skilled and industrious printer in town. But the Philadelphia tradesman wasn't content with only that accomplishment. Franklin's mind was curious, and he continually sought ways to improve himself and others. He expanded into publishing, his work including the noted Poor Richard's Almanac. He did extensive experiments with electricity and coined many of the terms still associated with its use. He invented numerous items such as the pot-bellied stove, the catheter, and bifocals. I'm not wearing bifocals, but I thought that would be funny. And when he traveled frequently across the Atlantic Ocean, he took it upon himself to chart the Gulf Stream. His attitude toward life could be seen as an aphorism he wrote for his almanac: hide not your talents. They for use were made. What's a sundial in the shade? Bars? I didn't realize my boy Benny Frank had the bars like that. But anyway, here we go. The evidence of Franklin's talents were many. He helped establish Philadelphia's first library. He started the nation's first fire department. He developed the concept of daylight saving time. and he held many posts serving the government. For the most part, Franklin was recognized for his ability, but sometimes he had to let his competence speak for itself. During a time when he was working on improvements in agriculture, he discovered that plaster made grains and grasses grow better, but he had a difficult time convincing his neighbors about the discovery. His solution? When spring arrived, he went to a field close to a path, dug out some letters into the dirt with his hands, put plaster into the ruts, and then sowed seed over the whole area. As people passed that way in following weeks, they could see green letters growing brighter than the rest of the field. They simply said, "This has been plastered." People got the message. Fleshing it out. We all admire people who display high competence, whether they are precision craftsmen, world-class athletes, or successful business leaders. But the truth is that you don't have to be Fabergé, Michael Jordan, or Bill Gates to excel in the area of competence. If you want to cultivate that quality, here's what you need to do. Number 1, show up every day. There's a saying, all things come to him who waits. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just the leftovers from the people who got there first. Responsible people show up when they're expected, but highly competent people take it a step further. They don't show up in body only. They come ready to play every day, no matter how they feel, what kind of circumstances they face, or how difficult they expect the game to be. Number 2, keep improving. Like Benjamin Franklin, all highly competent people continually search for ways to keep learning, growing, and improving. They do that by asking why. After all, the person who knows how will always have a job, but the person who knows why will always be the boss. Number 3, follow through with excellence. I've never met a person I considered competent who didn't follow through. I bet it's the same for you. Willa A. Foster remarked, quote, "Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives." End quote. Performing at a high level of excellence is always a choice, an act of will. As leaders, we expect our people to follow through when we hand them the ball. They expect that and a whole lot more from us as their leaders. Number 4, accomplish more than expected. Highly competent people always go the extra mile. For them, good enough is never good enough. In Men in Midlife Crisis, Jim Conway writes that some people feel, quote, a weakening of the need to be a great man and an increasing feeling of, let's just get through this the best way we can. Never mind hitting home runs. Let's just get through the ball game without getting beamed. End quote. Leaders cannot afford to have that kind of attitude. They need to do the job and then some, day in and day out. Number 5, inspire others. Highly competent leaders do more than perform at a high level. They inspire and motivate their people to do the same. While some people rely on relational skills alone to survive, effective leaders combine these skills with high competence to take their organizations to new levels of excellence and influence. Reflecting on it. This is the tail end of the chapter. Where do you stand when it comes to getting the job done? Do you attack everything you do with fervor and perform at the highest level possible? Or is good enough sometimes good enough for you? When you think about people who are competent, you're really considering only 3 types of people. Number 1, those who can see what needs to happen. Number 2, those who can make it happen. Number 3, those who can make things happen when it really counts. When it comes to your profession, where do you consistently perform? Are you a thinker, a doer, or a clutch player? The better you are, the greater potential for influence you will have with your people. Bringing it home. To improve your competence, do the following. Get your head in the game. If you've been mentally or emotionally detached from your work, it's time to re-engage. First, rededicate yourself to your job, determined to give it an appropriate amount of your undivided attention. Second, figure out why you have been detached. Do you need new challenges? Are you in conflict with your boss or coworkers? Are you in a dead-end job? Identify the source of the problem and create a plan to resolve it. Redefine the standard. If you're not performing at a consistently high level, re-examine your standards. Are you shooting too low? Do you cut corners? If so, hit your mental reset button and outline more demanding expectations for yourself. Find 3 ways to improve. Nobody keeps improving without being intentional about it. Do a little research to find 3 things you can do to improve your professional skills. Then dedicate the time and money to follow through on them. He said money. It might cost some investment. I'll get into that in the breakdown of my personal thoughts. Daily takeaway. Here's the end of the chapter. I read an editorial in Texas Business not long ago that said, "We are truly the lost generation, huffing and puffing down the fast track to nowhere, always looking to the dollar sign for direction. That's the only standard we recognize. We have no built-in beliefs, no ethical boundaries." End quote. You are only as good as your private standards. When was the last time you gave a task your absolute best, even though nobody but you would know about it? Man, that is good. That is good. Chapter 5, competence. That's out of John C. Maxwell, The 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader. Becoming the person others will want to follow. As I reflect on that chapter, one of the first thoughts that come to my mind, if I'm being honest, is pushback to a degree. There was a statement in there that was something along the lines of, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? But when I think about that, like, I don't think the way that LeBron James plays basketball is necessarily, that's the exact same way he could grill a rack of ribs, right? And I'm just making something up, but I don't know. I think that competence, this is my own personal thoughts. I think competence is in understanding where you are more competent than in other areas. I think that trying to be great, this is just my own personal experience, feeling so prideful that I feel like anything I touch, I could do. Anything I put my hands to, I'm gonna be the man. As I'm saying it out loud, there's some more coming to me, but I feel like that is somewhat vainglorious in the notion. And I think it's probably better suited, or I've been better served by taking a beat and saying, what are the things that I'm competent? I'm confident in my competence, and then building and growing on that. Or acknowledging areas that I'm not very competent here, and I'm going to make it an intentional and intellectual choice to increase or grow either my knowledge, my expertise, or my results in a particular area. So I just say that to say, I know somebody may have been listening and heard, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a slippery slope, I think, because if you're already not showing competence, you may feel defeated. You may feel like, man, well, whatever I do already is how I do everything, so why even try, right? I didn't make the high school varsity basketball team. Why would I even try and be a upstanding member of society if I already know that I'm, less than? So I would just encourage, I would encourage you to be defensive, be cautious, should I say, about those kind of thoughts. But other than that, I thought it was great. Benjamin Franklin is one of my favorite characters in history, so I thought it was awesome that he was featured here. He being great at everything he touched for 7 decades, that was some literary flex. I like that. I've never heard of something that he did that he wasn't, he didn't do great at, but also he's a historical figure. I would certainly hope that my losses aren't sung throughout the annals of history and, don't stand the test of time alongside some of my wins. I hope that they shine through. But I think that's the human condition. I think we all want the best of us to shine on and shine through. I mean, look at Instagram. Look at Facebook is a little different, but anyway, these apps that are specifically designed around your highlight reel, making sure that people can see and you can go back and reflect on some of the awesome things that you've overcome, some of the things you've accomplished, and the experiences that you've, well, experienced. So those are my thoughts on chapter 5. Again, this is just a raw read, so it's just coming to me right now. I would love to get your thoughts. Anybody else that has read this book, by all means, feel free to drop a comment, send me a private message. I really want to interact with you, so let me know, what stood out to you from that chapter. I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 6, and that'll knock out today's episode. So let's go. Number 6, courage. One person with courage is a majority. 2 quotes. Courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees all others. That was Winston Churchill, British Prime Minister. 2nd quote to kick off this chapter is, courage is fear that has said its prayers. I like that. That's by Karl Barth, a Swiss theologian. Let's go. The ace of aces. What do these 3 men have in common? The auto racer who set the world speed record at Daytona in 1914, the pilot who recorded the highest number of victories in aerial combat against the Germans in World War I, and the Secretary of War's special advisor who survived a plane crash and 22 days on a raft in the Pacific during World War II. They all lived through dangerous circumstances. They all displayed courage and steely nerves under duress. And they all happened to be the same person, Eddie Rickenbacker. Meeting a challenge was never a big problem for Eddie Rickenbacker, whether it was physical, mental, or economic. When he was 12, his father died, and he quit school to become the family's primary breadwinner. He sold newspapers, eggs, and goat's milk. He worked in a glass factory, brewery, shoe factory, and foundry. I know his lungs were damaged. But anyway. Then, as a teenager, he started working as a race car mechanic, and at age 22, he began racing. 2 years later, he set the world speed record. Let's go. When the United States entered World War I, Rickenbacker tried to enlist as an aviator, but he was overage and undereducated. So instead, he entered as a chauffeur and then talked his superiors into sending him to flight training. Despite not fitting in with his college-educated fellow aviators, he excelled as a pilot. And by the time the war was over, he had logged 300 combat hours, the most of any American pilot, survived 134 aerial encounters with the enemy, claimed 26 kills, and earned the Medal of Honor, 8 Distinguished Service Crosses, and the French Legion of Honor. He was also promoted to captain and put in command of his squadron. Rickenbacker's prowess in the air caused the press to dub him the American Ace of Aces. When asked about his courage in combat, he admitted that he had been afraid. Courage, he said, is doing what you're afraid to do. There can be no courage unless you are scared. End quote. That courage served the Ace of Aces well after World War I. In 1933, he became the vice president of Eastern Air Transport, later Eastern Airlines. Back then, all the airlines existed only because they were subsidized by the government. But Rickenbacker thought they should be self-sufficient. He decided to completely change the way the company did business. Within 2 years, he made Eastern profitable, a first in aviation history. And when the President of the United States canceled all commercial carriers' air-mail contracts, Rickenbacker took him on and won. Rickenbacker led Eastern successfully for 30 years and retired at age 73. When he died 10 years later, his son, William, wrote, quote, "If he had a motto, it must have been the phrase I've heard 1,000 times. I'll fight like a wildcat." End quote. Fleshing it out. When you look at the life of someone like Eddie Rickenbacker, you cannot help seeing great courage. It's easy to see in war heroes, but it's also present in every great leader in business, government, and the church. Whenever you see significant progress in an organization, you know that the leader made courageous decisions. A leadership position doesn't give a person courage, but courage can give him a leadership position. That was true for Captain Eddie Rickenbacker. Larry Osborne offers this observation: the most striking thing about highly effective leaders is how little they have in common. What one swears by, another warns against. but one trait stands out: the willingness to risk. As you approach the tough decisions that challenge you, recognize these truths about courage. Number one, courage begins with an inward battle. Every test you face as a leader begins with you. The test of courage is no different. As psychotherapist Sheldon Kopp notes, quote, all the significant battles are waged within self, end quote. Courage isn't an absence of fear. It's doing what you are afraid to do. It's having the power to let go of the familiar and forge ahead into new territory. That was true for Rickenbacker, and it can be true for you too. Number two, courage is making things right, not just smoothing them over. Civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. declared, quote, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy, end quote. Great leaders have good people skills, and they can get people to compromise and work together, but they also take a stand when needed. Courage deals with principle, not perception. If you don't have the ability to see when to stand up and the conviction to do it, you'll never be an effective leader. Your dedication to potential must remain stronger than your desire to appease others. Number three, courage in a leader inspires commitment from followers. Courage is contagious, asserts evangelist Billy Graham. When a man takes a stand, the spine of others are stiffened, end quote. A show of courage by any person encourages others, but a show of courage by a leader inspires. It makes people want to follow him. My friend Jim Mulatto explains, quote, leadership is the expression of courage that compels people to do the right thing, end quote. Number four, your life expands in proportion to your courage. Ooh, fear limits a leader. Roman historian Tacitus wrote, quote, the desire for safety stands against every great and noble enterprise, end quote. But courage has the opposite effect. It opens doors, and that's one of its most wonderful benefits. Perhaps that's why British theologian John Henry Newman said, quote, fear not that your life will come to an end, but that it will never have a beginning, end quote. Courage not only gives you a good beginning, but it also provides a better future. What's ironic is that those who don't have the courage to take risks and those who do experience the same amount of fear in life. The only difference is those who don't take chances worry about trivial things. If you're going to have to overcome your fear and doubts anyway, you might as well make it count. Reflecting on it, Eleanor Roosevelt acknowledged, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. How do you tend to handle fear? Do you embrace it? Are stretching experiences a regular part of your daily life? Or have you retreated so far into your comfort zone that you don't ever even feel fear? How must you change to develop a spirit of courage in your life? Bringing it home. To improve your courage, do the following. Face the music. Go out and do something, stretching, simply for the sake of growing in courage. Skydive. Speak in front of an audience, most people's greatest fear. Perform in a play. Go whitewater rafting. Rock climb. It doesn't matter what you do as long as it causes you to face a genuine fear. Talk to that person. Most people are avoiding confrontation with someone in their lives, an employee, a relative, or a coworker. If that's true for you, talk to that person this week. Don't dump on him or abuse him. Speak the truth in love. You won't be so afraid to do it if you've already skydived and rafted, etc. Take a giant step. Maybe you've been afraid to make a career move. If you've known in your heart that you should have changed jobs or started that new business, now is the time to face up to it. Take the time to really look at it. Talk to your spouse, your mentor, and a trusted friend or two. If it's the right thing to do, then do it. Daily takeaway. A 19th century circuit riding preacher named Peter Cartwright was preparing to deliver a sermon one Sunday when he was warned that President Andrew Jackson was in attendance, and he was asked to keep his remarks inoffensive. During that message, he included these statements. Quote, "I have been told that Andrew Jackson is in the congregation, and I have been asked to guard my remarks. What I must say is that Andrew Jackson will go to hell if he doesn't repent of his sin." End quote. After the sermon, Jackson strode up to Cartwright. "Sir," the president said, "if I had a regiment of men like you, I could whip the world." End quote. A courageous act often brings unexpected positive results. And these chapters are like, they're like a sweet nectar. I feel like right when they start getting good, it's over, and I think that's the perfect place to leave them, because it leaves you wanting more, So courage, man, what a subject. Again, that's chapter 6 out of John C. Maxwell, the 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader, becoming the person others will want to follow. I definitely appreciate you tuning in, watching. If this is your first video, welcome. If it's not, welcome back. Courage, man, courage is so evasive sometimes because it can be there. You can see it. It's like imagine you recognize your own reflection, but sometimes you look in the mirror and it's not there, Then you go into another mirror and it's there. And what I mean by that is like there's different areas of our life where we have courage and we can feel so emboldened to go forward and to step into our own. And then the very same person in another area, like I was talking about competence before, may not feel that same level of confidence, moving forward. So I think those two chapters in tandem with one another are very, very interesting. Lots of mental floss, lots for me to digest. I liked the sermon part, about where he was talking to Andrew Jackson. He didn't pull no punches because he was in the audience. I thought that was nice. You also got to be very mindful. That's in a some type of democracy or a republic. I venture to say you try that in a monarchy, it may not work quite the same. I've been watching a lot of House of Dragons recently, so any of my Game of Thrones cats out there, or House Targaryen gangsters, then y'all know what I'm talking about. You can mess around short ahead. You say the wrong thing to the wrong audience. But anyway, this was fantastic. I'm gonna actually, like I said, take some time to reflect. I'll probably go out onto the balcony, enjoy some of this sunlight. The sun's going down out here. But y'all drop a comment. Let me know, everybody that's subscribed, I appreciate you. I'm going to keep these videos coming, and I appreciate you. Like I said, you could be anywhere in the world right now, and you're here with me. Thank you. Peace.